Yo, what's good, people? Welcome to the channel where we talk about music licensing, music production, and music business. If you love any of the previously mentioned, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Shout out to the people joining the stream. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do so I can see who's in the building. Super excited today. First off, it's a new time for the podcast, a new day and time. Usually I do this on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, but I'm shifting the schedule a little bit because like this little toddler that I have started like pre-K or some pre-K pre-program or whatever. So we had to shift schedules a little bit to make it work. But I'm super excited, man, because I have another guest tonight who's also in the sync space, super dope producer, sound designer. His music has been heard on NBA, ESPN, BET, OWN, MTV, VH1, and a whole bunch of others. So I decided to bring him on so we could do some Q&A, so we can chop it up, have a dope conversation, and answer you guys' question in this sync space. So without further ado, me introduce my guy, Plan B. What's good, bro? How you feeling?
What's up, Clint? How are you, sir? Thank you for having me on.
No doubt, man. No doubt. I appreciate you coming on. And, man, it's always dope to see other producers in this space, and specifically in TV and film, just kind of doing their thing. And I think if I'm not mistaken, we're linked up with one of like the same music libraries, because I noticed your name from, I think it's Producers Toolbox, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, word! I didn't know you were with them. Wow.
Yeah. And that it rung a
That's
bell
what's
because
up.
I seen your email, and then I was just like, man, like that sounds familiar. And because I think before I joined them some years ago, I was just
Yeah,
scrolling through the catalog and seeing what they had. And I noticed like you had a lot of dope tracks with them. So
word.
that I was just like, okay, like this makes sense. We gotta chop it up.
Word.
So man,
That's
so how
crazy. You put me on. You put me on. I had no clue you were with them, so we have a
really?
lot to talk about.
Okay, yeah, hey, we gotta catch up there, man.
For
Shout
sure.
out to Sig Will Productions in the building. What's good? VO Beats, what's up? So man, tell the people, like, I don't know how you got started. Like, what was the beginning as a producer for you?
Oh man. Well, from just a production standpoint, I started producing when I was in high school,
Okay.
in New Jersey. Well, not even high school. I started a little bit earlier than that, but I really didn't start getting my footing until I got into high school.
Okay.
And what's funny is I tell people I went to hip hop high
Okay.
because a lot of the people that I went to school with, they were, nieces and nephews and sons of like a lot of like legendary hip hop people, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Wyclef, Jay-Z's nephew went to our school. Like we were really, it was a lot of, even Naughty by Nature, their nieces went to our high school, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it was just like, I was surrounded by nothing but music people and people that wanted to rap, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, I was one of those people that took sessions in high school as an engineer, and had people coming to my house, recording after school, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it just really progressed from there. My grandmother, my parents, they were really supportive, early on.
Hmm.
So I was one of those privileged kids that had a studio in my crib, that kind of thing, at
Yeah.
a really, really young age. So uh, I didn't really jump into the music licensing thing until like my mid 20s.
Okay.
Didn't even know that it was a thing.
Right.
So, yeah,
Man, yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. Always I think I got, yeah, it was around the same for me. It was like middle school. Around middle school, I was trying to be a rapper. That didn't work out. And then high school, I noticed like, okay, production is where I really want to be.
right.
And then I would say it was probably early 20s for me, when I learned about sync, but it still didn't click. Like, my guy told me
Mm,
about it, and at that time, like Taxi was the place to go. But it
yeah.
didn't really sink in. It didn't really hit me. So man, so how did you learn about sync?
How did I learn about sync? That's a really, really good question. My wife and I, when we used to like run around New York, we used to go to like a lot of different uh like networking events and things like that.
Yeah.
And that is, and she's heavy in television and film as well, and kind of put me on to like, yo, you should look into getting your music into like TV and film. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of tracks, like that will probably be a good place to put your music. And after doing a little bit of research, I realized, oh, I can play the background. I don't necessarily have to be in anybody's face. Like I can just make tracks from home, and submit them and do whatever. And I was like, okay. And it didn't, like I said, it didn't really click for me until I we went to this one networking event. And I don't know if my guy wants to be mentioned, but I'm gonna shout him out anyway. My man Matt.
Okay.
I met him as I was leaving a networking event, and he said that he worked for a music library.
Hmm.
That music library just so happened to be Producers Toolbox.
Wow.
And he said, "Yo, submit some." He's like, "Yo, submit some music, and let's connect." And I was like, "All right, cool." And it was up from there.
Yeah. That's fire. So when was that? Like, what year was that you first linked up with Producers Toolbox,
Oh man,
if you
that
remember?
was that was 2014, 2015.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 2014, 2015, around that time.
Dope. Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I came on. It was probably about maybe a year or so after that. Because I know I've been with them for yeah, like a few years. It was soon after I got that first well, it was after I got out of this publishing deal that I was in, and that ended in like 13.
Okay.
And then I know I started the road to 10 placements journey like around 15. So it was
Okay.
probably a little bit after that. So yeah, that's what's up,
Nice.
man.
Yeah, and um when I had it's that yeah, I think I wanted to make sure. Yeah, 2014, 2015, because I
Okay.
got my first television placement in 2015.
Okay, got you. Was that
Yeah,
through Producers Toolbox?
absolutely.
Dope.
Absolutely. Um let's see. So the the day after I got Matt's email,
Mm-hmm.
I emailed him, a couple of joints. I was just kind of, feeling him out a little bit, and he was like, "Yo, we love all of these." He sent me back a couple of edits,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Wait a minute, I can flood y'all with some stuff." So my first batch of music that I sent to them, I sent them like 200 tracks
Wow.
off it, and about 70% of those tracks got played within about 6 months.
Sheesh. Yo, that's like
Yeah,
a
and about
record, bro.
crazy. Like it's freaking crazy. I had to go and I go back and I look at like the schedule A that I have, and it's about 3 pages. It's
Dang,
freaking insane. And then
that's
after that,
crazy.
I was sending them about 30 tracks like per quarter because I wanted to keep the ball rolling as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And one of my first placements was on this show called Off the Bat,
Okay.
and at that time it was a relatively new show. It was like an MLB show. It's like the first take of MLB, if you will.
Okay.
And that whole first season, I had at least 10 to 15 cues in every episode.
Dang. That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
dope, man. That goes to show you too, like, because I come across producers and they're like, yo, I sent a couple tracks, like 2 or 3 tracks 6 months ago, and I'm still waiting to see if they get placed. And it's like,
Mm-mm.
yo, you got to get those numbers up. And I like
Yeah,
what
you
you
got it.
said. You was trying to send a batch, like a big batch per quarter, because
Yeah,
that's the only way you can really gain momentum.
yeah,
Um,
that's a
that's
fact.
that's super dope, man. Man, so like, I guess after that, like, did sync licensing kind of become like the main focus, or did you still kind of do other gigs and working with artists and stuff as well?
100%. I was still kind of teetering the line a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because I was working with quite a few independent artists at the time, and a few quote unquote major guys, if you would consider them that. People that had deals,
Yeah.
people had publishing deals and things of that nature. But nothing was really coming of it. You know what I'm saying? After a while, you look up and you realize, wait a minute, I got 30 and 40 songs that haven't been released yet. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But I saw that like my first, you know, big check really came from music licensing. You know what I'm saying? I was like, goodness, this is where it's at. Like, this artist thing is not really. the wave. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of red tape. You know what I mean? It's still there's still things that need to be ironed out in the business, if you will,
Right.
in the record business that that is not really conducive for producers all the time. You know what I mean? Unless you have a hit, or something like that. And even in that, you still have a mountain to climb.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I was having a conversation with Busy Works Beats, and we were just talking about how you have all these producers trying to get on the same three major artists that's hot right now, and
Hmm.
it's so saturated. And they, a lot of these artists have teams already that they're
Hmm.
kind of prioritizing tracks and songs from. So you're really competing with all the other producers who are already in the industry with records and Grammys and plaques and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Whereas TV and film, man, there's so many opportunities for your music to be used, even, and just like you said, like what did you say, like 10 plus placements in one episode, every episode of the MLB
Yep.
joint. And that
Yep.
just goes to show you how how much opportunity is out there. So that's super dope, man.
Yeah.
Man,
And
go ahead.
the crazy thing is, I got with when I got with Flavor Lab, they had less than 1,000 tracks in their catalog.
Okay.
So I got in with them like super duper early, and I was told like 2 months after I started sending them, stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that I had controlled about maybe 60% of the hip hop catalog, like
Wow.
early on. So that's why I encourage people to find some of these, music catalogs that are or production libraries that don't have that many tracks. Of course, you're not gonna know, you know what I'm saying, but try to get in with them while they're small, so the attention can be on you a little bit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you can be a priority at least.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Man, so you got in at a good time where hip hop super popular, hip hop R&B, and they didn't have a lot of that in the catalog. So you kind of positioned yourself like, yo, like I make this, I'm good at this.
Hmm.
I can be the go-to guy, or at least one of the go-to guys for this particular genre.
Yeah.
And boom, then the placements start rolling in. And
Yeah.
that's a really quick turnaround too. Like within the first 6 months, that's
Yeah,
super dope.
man.
But
I ain't get my check till later, but yeah.
of course, of course. Let's talk about that, man. Like how long did it take you from that first placement until you got your first royalty check?
uh, at least 9 to 10 months.
Okay.
At least 9 to 10 months. Almost a year.
Yeah.
Almost a year. Because the first one that came, it was like, okay, this is cool. And then the one that came after that, I was like, oh, this is what we doing. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was my wife that woke me up talking about, hey, did you check your bank account? I was like, no, what's up? I thought something happened. I thought I had an overdraft.
Man,
But yeah, man, ever since then, it's been on the up and up, man. I love it.
that's dope. That's super dope, man. We got a question from Talford Spicer. He says, I'm in my last month at Full Sail University, April 2022. My question is about mentoring and how long did it take to get your business to become relevant? Um, that's a good question. It really, like, I don't know. In the sync, it's not even really about relevancy to me. Like I
True.
mean, like a lot of the libraries, I don't even think, well, with an exception of filling out the W-9 form, like they probably don't even remember my production company name. They just know me as a composer. I just send them music. But
That's it.
yeah, I think it's really, and that's what I love about it, is it's really about the music, man. Like they don't care
Mhm.
if your company is relevant. They just
Yeah,
care if you make quality music and if you can meet the deadlines. What's your take
that's
on
it.
that?
No, that's it. You hit it on the head for sure.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily care how you do the music or anything like that. As long as it's good quality, they're
Yep.
gonna accept it. Yeah, that's really the main thing. What did he say about mentorship? Um,
I guess I don't know. He just said my question's about mentoring and how long. I don't know. What's Talford? What did you, if you want to clarify what you meant by the mentoring part of it, and then we can kind of hopefully answer or point you in the right direction.
yeah. Because if I'm being honest, I never really, I can't say that I had a mentor, but
Mm,
one of the other, I have to credit him, this brother named Lofi.
okay.
When I was living in Jersey, he actually he's done the theme song for all the Love and Hip Hop seasons.
Okay.
Him and Mona Scott are like really really close. So like for years that he like you hear the I think of This is the Life. This is the Life. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but
Yep.
that's his music that's on the on the theme song whatever. And he kind of put me on to get your music into TV and film. Like you have some dope beats that would that would thrive in that lane. So he was one of the people that kind of put the bug in my ear
Mm-hmm.
early on, like it not necessarily a mentor. He's just a really good, a really good friend. Somebody, that was able to pull me aside and be like, "Hey, man, tap into this lane real quick."
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope. You mentioned earlier that because so you had a back catalog of music when you connected with Matt, and
Mm-hmm.
when you sent that, you said they had like a couple notes. Like, did you have to like go in and kind of restructure stuff, since I'm guessing the stuff that you made was maybe geared towards artists or full songs? Did you have to
Mm-hmm.
go in and like restructure a lot, or did they really care too much about how you had it?
Bro, that was probably one of the most tedious weeks of my life. Because you got to
Talk
think,
about it.
I sent them a large batch of music. So, yes, I did have to learn the structuring as far as, shortening intros, the sting or the stab ending. I had that on a couple of tracks, but then, the rest of them, it was like, hey, cut these 2 minutes down to maybe 130, you know what I'm saying? Or cut this 4 minutes down to 130.
Yeah.
Um, take this instrument out or something like that. So, yes, oh my God, edits upon edits upon edits. And even when I thought I had it right, like when I was like, okay, I'll remember this for the next batch. Oh nah, they would send back more edits like, hey man, these 30 joints, we got about 15 of them, you gotta clean up. So it's like that's the job. That's part of the job. And ever since then I've learned to, even when I create, certain tracks now, I'll do a version that I might gear towards an artist. Then I'll do a version strictly for television and film. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then make sure I have those stems ready to roll.
Yeah. Man, dude, yeah, I had the same experience, man. Luckily, I had the publisher I was working with at the time. He kind of put me up on game on shortened stuff, add and sting endings, because it was information that wasn't out there, man. Like nobody was
Yeah.
like breaking down how to structure music for TV and what they look for. So I had to go in. I was ripping out bridges, and same thing as you, taking out instruments. He was just like, "Yo, it's a lot going on. Like it really don't you don't have to do all that." So, hey, I
Oh
I
man.
get that, man, for sure. Um, man, let me see if we got
Yeah.
uh any other ones. Nope, that's it. So yeah, man, so you had to go through that process of doing the edits. People started, sharing information, so you knew what to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, man, so like, I guess talk about some of the benefits licensing has had on your career as a producer. Because I feel like, I know for me personally, it's been a game changer. And I know it's helped a lot of other producers as well. So maybe we can talk about that.
It's definitely opened the doors in just the television and film realm. I will say that. Just sometimes having that credit, I think people get it twisted where it's like, oh, I gotta have a credit with an artist you know, uh, to be considered taken seriously in this realm. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
nah, man. As soon as I got, especially when I got on my placement on OWN, my family thought I made it or something. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched the episode with my grandmother, and she was like, "That's my grandson's song in there. Oh my god!" It's like, I mean, but as far as the benefits, like I said, it has opened doors in the television and film realm. I've even been able to do like sound, not only sound design, but do the boom mic operation for a feature film. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like, it put me in certain place. Like it took me out of the studio and literally put me behind the camera, low key. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? With just and even with one of my friends who's an artist as well, WG, shout out to him. He one of his first films that he produced himself, he had me come on as a sound designer and also have some of my music in his film as well. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? That's probably one of the more important reasons you should network across or network with the people in your circle. Cause,
Yeah.
the two films that I did for him went on to be on Amazon Prime. And, we're, yeah, it's really, really dope. And I was able to even to do like mixing and mastering for two movie soundtracks. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like it doesn't put you in a box. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
Right.
you can go and there's so many other different jobs outside of just sitting at home and making beats. Like
Yeah.
there's so much that you can do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I love you. So you drop you drop like two major bars. So the first one was network across. A lot of times people are always like they're trying to get on with, like you said, the major artists, the major producers, getting signed under major producers, major labels, all of these things, or even music supervisors that's been working in the space already. But like it's the people like next to you that's on the come up that like you build relationships with them, and you're top of mind when it comes to music, when it comes to mixing, and all of this stuff. So that was bar number one. Bar number
Yeah.
two was you talked about sound design, mixing. You talked about other ways to give them value, to put yourself in different situations that ended up still getting music play. So like talk about that.
Mhm.
Like how did the whole just talk about the sound design perspective. Like how did that happen, and what is that experience like, and what does it entail to be a sound
Yeah.
designer?
So I'm on two different ends of the spectrum on that because I've done sound design for Splice as well, and I've also done sound design for the two films, and it's a completely different beast if I'm being honest. And it was probably my first time doing adding music or adding sound to an actual film, like an actual picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it all in Logic, believe it or not, too. Like it
Yeah.
was really, really dope. But yeah, like I've always had just a good ear for just sound, period. Like I just know it's something that just comes naturally to me. I know what things sound like, and I know how they're supposed to sound. And
Mm-hmm.
I was mixing his songs for maybe a year up until him doing the film. And he was like, yo, I want whatever you do for me in the studio as far as sound, I want you to do that for my film. I want you to make my film sound just like that.
Yeah.
And it came naturally to me, honestly. And then the second one came around, and he said, "Yo, let's do it again."
Wow, that's
So
dope. That's super dope. And
yeah,
then mixing, like the whole mixing and mastering stuff, that kind of happened the same kind of way.
yeah, absolutely. When I started mixing and mastering before I was a producer, and before I even knew what mixing and mastering was.
Okay.
One thing I left out was my mother. She used to be a songwriter, and her first couple of demos, I mixed all of the records,
Wow.
not knowing what I was doing, but I recorded her. You know what I'm saying? I was using a program called Acid Pro. That
I
makes me a
remember
very,
that.
very old person. Okay.
I remember
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. I did it all in Acid Pro. And we had taken it to, a couple of studios. They would ask her, yo, who mixed and mastered this stuff? She's like, my son did it. And they would be super shocked at
Yeah.
like the quality, you know what I'm saying? And of course I go back and listen to those records, and I'll be like, oh my God, what was I thinking back then? What was going on? But
Exactly.
it was a completely different time in music. But since then, of course, that's my sound. As my sound progressed, I got more clients as a mix engineer, mix and mastering engineer than I did as a producer. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? At one point, there was 2 years. There's been about 2 or 3 years that I've gotten more things placed or more things accomplished more as an engineer than I did as a producer. I will
Yeah.
say that.
Got you.
So yeah.
That's what's up, man. It all works together, and I'm sure those mixing and mastering skills definitely came in handy when trying to meet quick deadlines in the TV space too.
Tell me about it, especially when I'm the person that has to pull up that old session. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
yeah. Oh. Yes,
Yeah, man.
absolutely.
Yeah, I've been there, man. Have you ever had a situation where they asked you to pull up the old session and you had to like go back and replay sounds and things like that?
Um, I haven't had to do that.
Okay.
One of the most recent, but I will say this. Um, there was there was a track that I did on my iPad
Okay.
back in 2015,
Okay.
and I lost the data for the actual beat, but I remember I transferred it to Logic.
Okay.
I did a bounce in Logic, and I went to go open a Logic session, and all the sounds were gone. So I had to like find the sounds one by one in a hard drive to actually, you know,
So they would load
for
up.
for it to yeah, for it, so they would actually load up. Oh my god, that was probably one of the
Dang.
most heartbreaking 15, 20 minutes of my life, because I was like, I'm gonna miss this opportunity if I don't find these sounds.
Yep. Man,
So
I was talking to somebody, they knew somebody that missed out on an opportunity because they didn't have the sounds. They or something, I don't know if it was the sessions or something happened. They didn't have it, man. They was just like, I submitted it so long ago. It's like they will hit you up years later about a
yes,
track and like they'll
yes,
they'll be ready to move on it. But if you don't have it,
yes.
you just missed out.
Yeah, that hurt my heart just even hearing that story, because
Yeah.
I know how it goes. That's why you got to keep the files, back up everything.
Yeah.
That's just reminded me I'm about to do another backup after this live.
Yeah, facts. Facts, man.
Just cause.
Let me back up right now just to be sure.
Just
Man, so we got a couple
oh man.
questions. Ox Yiki says sampling and clearing samples. Should one sample less or do what you feel? For TV and film specifically.
No samples for television and film at
Yeah, man.
all. I don't no samples. Even when it comes to like splice stuff, I try not to do any splice anything. And I love splice, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I use it for like artists, artist stuff, of course, but when it comes to TV and film, nah. Play all
Yeah.
that stuff out, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Asan, my guy, says, I'm a producer and don't necessarily write my own lyrics. Do you feel that every song you create should have lyrics to increase the chances for a TV and film placement?
I I might be the biased one in the room. I don't think so, because I've gotten more instrumentals placed than I've gotten songs placed
Yeah.
recently. Um, and of course, even with being in contact with certain music supervisors and talking to certain people, of course, I pitch songs all the time. But
Yeah.
yes, it's really the instrumentals that you know that have worked for me, I will
Yeah.
say.
I know I have more instrumental placements. And I know when I first started out, that's all I was submitting at
Hmm.
first. And then now I'm working more on like full song stuff. Um
Same.
and but yeah, like and I even when I submit full songs, sometimes they still end up just using the instrumental. So you can't go
Absolutely.
wrong. You can't go wrong either way. You know what I mean? There's opportunities for
Mhm.
instrumentals. There's opportunities for songs. Obviously, if you have a song, then that's kind of two opportunities. You got the full song and you still have the instrumental. So, whatever you're creating, whatever your vibe is, and what you have available and what they need, rock with it. Um,
Absolutely.
Good question.
Don't ever limit yourself. Do not limit yourself in this space at
Yeah,
all.
facts. Jason Dowdy said I had Acid Pro back in the day. Digital Performer before that.
Yeah.
Man,
That's crazy times. That was in 1999, 1999, 2000. That's when Cash Money Records was taking over. That's when I had when I had Acid, yes.
yeah.
And then from Acid I had moved to Reason, and then from Reason to Logic, and then
Okay.
Logic to Pro Tools, and then in between there I jumped on an iPad like 10 years ago, and yeah, I've been on that ever since.
Man, how's that been for you? Like producing on the iPad. Like I'm fairly new to it. Like
Mhm,
I've used Beatmaker,
mhm.
and then I've been in GarageBand. So I'll hop in there a couple times, especially if I'm not like in front of my computer. But
Yeah.
how's that been for you? Because I see you do a lot of production on there.
Yeah, I love it actually. And when my wife and I we started traveling really heavy, like around 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
And the first time we traveled, I took my duet with me. I had my laptop. I bought my mic just in case I wanted to do something while I was out there. And then I was like, you know what? I need to figure out a way to produce on the go.
Yeah.
And when I got my iPad, and it was very early on, I don't even think Beatmaker was out actually, no, there was Beatmaker 2
Okay.
that was out. That was the first version that they had out. And and I actually, prior to then, the first program I started with was iMachine.
Okay.
Native Instruments, they had a iPad version. I think they still do, but I don't use it as often. The app has changed so much in
Yeah.
recent years. But yeah, I was using that, and getting placements off of iMachine, not even dumping them into uh, uh, Logic or taking them, doing any additional production. Like, I was literally able to get my sections off in there, do my stab endings, all in iMachine, send them to, Producers Toolbox or whatever other library I was with, and
Mm-hmm.
that was that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it, man. And I'm a person, I've been collecting sounds for the longest time. So I've just been kind of moving my library around, different devices, and, seeing what works, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Yeah, I like to switch things up every now and then.
Yeah.
Excuse me, just to I don't know, I think it brings out a different level of creativity, when you're able to kind of use different
100%.
devices. So, yeah, so if we got a question in here, and it's a good question, from Ghost Core. It says, I have a ton of unused music. Where do I begin to get placement on TV and film? So, like, if you or thinking back to when you first started, what are the steps you would take to start getting your music placed in TV and film?
The first thing I would start doing is reaching out to music libraries. Honestly, I think that was really the cheat code for me.
Yeah.
Was the music library route. For two reasons. Number one, if you don't have like a manager or somebody who's filtering the music out for you or something like that, like, more music libraries they're more open to just dealing with a composer directly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, and on top of that, you don't necessarily need like a crazy team to do a bunch of stuff, with you know getting your music to certain music libraries or something like that.
Yeah.
Or find sync agents. Sync agents are really, really good too, because
Mm-hmm.
they have the connections with the music supervisors that they can just, get your music to them.
Yeah.
Um, Also, get with the performing rights organization. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
When I came to Atlanta, and my wife and I would go to different events and things like that, and we would ask certain artists and certain producers, "Yo, what performing rights organization are you with?" And it'd be dead silence.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't be in this game and not be with a PRO. You can't get your first placement on TV and film without being with a PRO.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. That's a
So yeah,
fact.
that's where you start. That is where you start.
Dope. Dope. So you mentioned your wife is kind of in the TV and film space. Like, what does she do? Like, and how do you guys kind of work together in this space?
Well, she's a she's a music supervisor, an
Okay.
aspiring music supervisor.
Got you.
And she's worked on quite a few films and things like that.
Dope.
And anytime, I'm not her go-to all the time. I will say that. I don't want
Yeah.
y'all to think I just got the cheat
The
code in my
connect.
house.
I know.
No, that's not how. No, no, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? When no, it's not happening that way. But when she does, because she knows my catalog really, really well.
Okay.
Um, so she'll be like, "Oh, I think, such and such might be good for this, and if it
Mhm.
works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's dope, man. I mean, just keeping it real. It's just like, just because we're married doesn't mean like you just get a pass. You know what I mean? Like, it
nah,
still has to work.
mm-mm. That's
Uh,
not how it goes. I mean,
yeah.
either way, I'm gonna have to work for it. I'm gonna have to make a sacrifice for that placement.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Man, that's dope though. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Man, so how's it been? I guess balancing the music career with marriage. I'm a married man myself, and I know a
Mhm.
lot of people ask me like, "Yo, like, is there a balance, like as far as work and relationship? Like what is that like for you guys?
Um, that's a really, really good question. Um, Goodness, how do I answer that truthfully? You communication.
Yeah.
Communication is a really, really big thing. The good thing about my wife is that she understands, she understands the music business. She has a very, very good understanding of the music business.
That's dope.
And she knows that, things can be slow, things can be very fast. She understands the quick turnaround. I may have to stop what I'm doing to, get this brief off, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That kind of thing. But it's at the end of the day, it's making time for each other. And we talk about music. We enjoy talking about music a lot. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whether it be music business stuff or, some of the, I guess, challenges she faces as well. Because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So we kind of have to have each other's back in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different situations. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's dope,
And
man.
we travel too, man. Travel. Get out of the studio sometimes and go
Right.
travel. Go do something. Like you can't just be a lab rat all day. Oh, I'm making 10, 15 beats a day.
Yeah.
No. If I'm being honest, I'll raise my hand to this. I am not a person that's in the studio every day making beats every day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just not. I legit have to live. I have to experience some things. A
Yep.
lot of my best tracks have not been made sitting in this room. They have
Mm-hmm.
been going outside or, sitting in a car, you know what I'm saying, and making
Yeah.
a beat. You know what I'm saying? Like literally being outside of these four walls. Like
Yeah.
that's
Man,
really, really important.
it is, bro. And that's one of the tips I have for like just defeating producer's block is getting out of the studio, man. You have to
Hmm.
live life, you have to experience new things, and that just being in a different surrounding inspires creativity. And
Yes.
I definitely agree, man. Great point. Um, Man, so we got some good questions rolling in. My guy Jason Doty, my bad if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but the question is, what do you outsource for your music business? Marketing, social media management, SEO, etc., so you can focus more on your music. I love that question.
Yeah, I love it too. And I'm probably the wrong person to answer it because I pretty much do everything.
Yeah, I think yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
want
I think we all do at some point, because I still do a lot of stuff in my business. I think probably like a few years ago I started outsourcing more so that I could focus more on music.
Mhm.
Um, I still do the marketing and kind of creating the content and stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
outsource a lot of like the admin stuff, the metadata, the uploading stuff, the
Same.
posting on social media and scheduling that stuff. I outsource that stuff.
Mhm.
But the music itself, obviously, that's the one thing that you have to do. And I feel like for me as a content creator as well, I feel like that's another place where like I have to create the content because it's
Yes.
me, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah, sure.
so um yeah, so what I do to outsource, I hire a VA is like the first thing I would do,
Mhm.
because that'll free up a lot of the admin work, and I use a website called upwork.com. And then you can
Nice.
kind of interview, different VAs and things like that. They're categorized based on what they specialize in,
Mhm.
and that's what I do. And then video editing was a recent one that I outsourced because I noticed I was spending a lot of time doing that, and I didn't like it necessarily. Like it was cool,
Mhm.
but I was just like, yo, this is starting to take up a lot of time. So those are like the two things that I really outsource is like admin work, and video editing work for the most part. And then obviously since I started out doing all those things, it made that transition easier because I know exactly how to teach them what to do because I've done it myself for years. So um, that's probably one of the most challenging parts is being able to effectively communicate to your team like exactly what you want and how to do it. So That would be my advice
Absolutely.
in that space.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Ghost Core says, should I get my music licensed before reaching out to the pros? That I would register with the pro. So you basically you can't even get your music licensed until you're registered with the pro, unless you're in like a
Facts.
situation. I don't even know how you would get in that situation, but like if you
Yeah.
collabed on something with somebody and they didn't know, maybe I still don't know how that would happen, but yeah, just
Yeah. No.
register with the pro like immediately. I know most libraries you can't even finish signing the licensing deal with a library until you have that IPI number from the pro and all that stuff. So
That's a fact. I
yeah,
tell people all the time, and you before you get your music place, you have to get your business straight.
yeah,
Period.
it's good. Yep. So yeah, because what man? Because you don't. And I seen it happen too many times. I was talking to a music supervisor friend of mine, and he pretty much they had a song, they was ready to cut the check, bro.
Mm.
And I guess the artist that recorded the song, she couldn't get in touch with the producer of the song to sign off on everything and verify splits, and they missed
Yeah.
out. It was like I think it was like 30K, bro.
Oh my God.
Missed out.
No. Oh
So
no.
you don't want to
That's
have
one.
to learn those tough lessons.
You really don't. You really don't. And one thing, a lot of the artists that I work with, the group that I do work with,
Mm-hmm.
I handle the registration
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of the music, like, not even maybe a week, if so, after we finish it, so I can start pitching it. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, I have a good mix or a good enough rough mix that I can, pitch, or like or just a completely finished product. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where it's like, hey, they'll hit me up like, yo, B, you registered a song already? It's like, yeah, I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? So I try to have those things in place before I even start pitching. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of headache, and it kind of it streamlines that situation a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And then it also doesn't look good on like with your relationship with the library or the music supervisor if you
Mhm.
send them something and then the business is not straight and then y'all find
Yeah.
out later down the road and then they have to do some last minute stuff. It could
Mhm.
cause a relationship to go sour.
Yeah,
So I
it really
definitely would need
can.
them.
It really can.
Yep. Be About Money says, do we have any info on gaming placements? Have you ever gotten a video game placement?
No, I haven't. I would love to get one though, man,
Yeah,
because yeah,
same.
people are still eating off of Grand Theft Auto from years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't had any game placements.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't give you any insight. DIY Music Biz. I'm gonna have him on at some point to talk about it because
Oh
he's
no, for
gotten some
sure.
stuff. But yeah, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, he's one of the first producers that I've come across that actually has video game placements. I don't know
Yeah.
too many that do.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
Same here. Like
Mm,
from the conversations that we had, it's sometimes like it's kind of different. It's not as like straightforward.
excuse
Make a song, send it to a video game. Like it's
me.
it's
Yeah, it's
it's
not that.
some different strategies. Um.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ghost Core says, when submitting tracks, should I submit stems as well, or just just the main track?
Only when they request it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because the last batch that I sent recently, a couple of joints got placed out of the batch, or they got some accepted into the catalog out of the batch, and they hit me up maybe like 2 days later and was like, hey, could you send over the stems for this one, and this one, drum and bass stem, melody stem,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So yeah, only when they request it.
Yeah. Outrageous. What? I guess he wanted some insight on. Let me see. I know it's not easy, but will it be to get into this business? So I guess he wants to know, like, is it challenging to get into sync licensing? Going the library route or music supervisor route. What's been your experience as far as getting started?
I think it's if I'm being honest, it's pretty easy to get it's much easier to get into sync licensing than it is the record business.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, much easier for sure. Um, and yeah, and once you make a name for yourself, not even make a name for yourself, once you can show that you are a reliable resource for music,
Hmm.
people will start reaching out to you. You know what I mean? You'll start getting more briefs, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So
that's really it.
did you start working with more libraries after you got into that first one, or is that like the one you just kind of focus on?
That's the one that I really focus on. I signed with three different music libraries within the last couple of years, and they're
Okay.
not as fruitful, if that
Okay.
makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, I started, talking with different sync agents, and reaching out to music supervisors directly,
Hmm.
and building relationships with them. I am one of those people. I like to do a lot of things myself because I realize, especially with just connecting with different people, I realize that you can you can do much more by just cold calling sometimes, and just really, letting your personality and your work speak for you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
People will be more inclined to work with you when they look at your IMDb, and they see your resume. It's like, okay, I can, we can definitely build something. I don't, hop in. I don't spam people. I try to come in as personable as possible.
Yeah.
So, um, and it's definitely worked out for me. Now, it's not always easy, especially with working with different music supervisors, because they do take long to reach back out to you sometimes.
Yeah.
But once you build up that good rapport, you know what I'm saying, they become your friend in this thing.
Yeah. Super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope. Um, let me see. Lamar Webster says he mentioned drum and bass stems and melody stems. Is it good to also have guitar stems and synth key stems and brass stems as sections as well? Um,
Uh, Not really. Well, when they ask for like a melody stem, it's literally all the instruments in one sometimes, and then like the melody instruments in one, and then the drum and bass track or whatever, drum, bass, hi hats, that kind of thing.
yeah.
So it's yeah, they don't need, like, if you got a 16 track instrumental, like they don't need all 16 tracks all the time.
Yeah. Yep. And then
Yeah,
a lot of them, I mean, they'll tell you exactly what they want, how they want it, which makes it
yeah,
makes it a lot easier. It takes the guesswork out of it. Um,
absolutely.
out outrighteous asked about splits. Once you get your placement in place, do you have to split royalties 50-50, or do the music libraries take a major cut? That's another great question.
That is a really, really good question. So with certain music libraries, they ask for 100% of the publishing, and you keep your writer share, uh, which is a common practice. There are other libraries that do it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Um, but even like my little brother, he's also a producer as well.
Okay.
And when I got with, I think maybe like a year into being with Producers Toolbox, I submitted a batch of tracks that were just me and, tracks from me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And we split the writer share 50-50. And then they maintain the publisher share and things like that. And yeah, it was super simple,
Yeah.
and he's with a completely different performing rights organization. So of course they would have to, they handle the administration on that. So
Gotcha.
um yeah,
Super dope. Yep.
yeah.
That's been my experience as well.
Hmm.
And it ends up 50-50. They take
Yeah,
100% publishing, you take 100% writers.
yeah.
And then sometimes if there's upfront fees, depending on that situation, that could be
Hmm.
50-50. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
let's see. Oh, here's a good one from Demetria. It says I have trouble trying to get artists to deal with splits. Everyone wants to jam, but it's always like pulling teeth to get the business taken care of. Has this been an issue, and how did you resolve it? I don't know why people so scared of the business, man. Like, it's crazy.
Oh man, what I really want to say, I'm not gonna say on this live. I'll save it for another time. I will save it for a whole nother time.
Yeah.
Communication, man. If you want the soft answer, it's really a communication thing.
Yep.
I have dissolved certain artist relationships because I can't do business with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it'll hold up my bag. At the end of the day, it will hold up my bag. Because if I, say for instance, such and such music supervisor wants a song that you and I created
Yeah.
by 12 noon, and I can't get in. I've been trying since 7 a.m. to reach out to you, and I haven't gotten a response.
Yeah.
We're done. Yeah, we're that'll be the last time that I submit anything of ours for
Yep.
TV and film. Very,
Yep.
very simple. I'm on to the next one. I have other artists who they understand the one-stop agreement. You know what I'm saying? They understand that, okay, the music supervisor reaches out to you, you the one that handles the split, handles the business, and I trust your word that you're gonna see to it that we eat.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've had to do the same thing, man. I've reached out to people, give them a great opportunity, upfront money as well.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know, they drag their feet, and they don't deliver, they don't meet the deadline. It's a bunch of back and forth, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I got to move on. And then they try and come back. It's like, no, like, you literally don't get it. Like, there is no time to not take care of business and not meet deadlines. And there's really, like, in this space, and that's why I put out so much content just like on social media, to try and teach people as much as I can. So like, if I do have an opportunity to pass to my followers and subscribers and things like that, like, you guys kind of already know kind of how this thing works, because there's really no time to like teach somebody all of this stuff and tell them like the importance of it. And you got, like you said, like a deadline at noon. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, either you're gonna rock with it or you're not. But yeah, as far as like the business and getting people, I always like have that meeting or that call before we even start working together. Like, this is how I work. This is what's required to, until I get paperwork, we can't work. And then nothing gets sent out until that's established and everybody agrees to those terms. We don't even start creating anything unless everybody agrees to the terms. And I'm not wasting time, and you shouldn't waste yours either. So yeah, I 100% agree with you, bro.
Yeah, 100%. This is not like the sync game. One thing I will say, it's not like the record business where you send a track to an artist and it takes them almost 90 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you don't even hear back from the artist. You know what I'm saying? Whether they be major or whatever the case may be. It's like, we might holler at you if it makes the album or something like that. It's not that kind of game. It's not. It's really not. It's a forever moving. It's a lot of different moving parts, and it's moving forward all the time. And moving really, really fast too. Like, there are clearances happening right now. You know what I'm saying? There are music clearances happening right now. So, you can't sit on your hands. When it comes to this.
Indeed, man. Shout out to everybody in the stream. We're doing a live Q&A. I got my guy Plan B here, a producer, mix and master engineer, sound designer with a ton of TV film credits. So if you guys have questions, man, we got a few more minutes. Drop your questions in the chat. And yeah, man, we're just hanging out for a few more minutes. So man, anything you want to talk about, man, before we hop off in a few minutes?
Let's see, man. I'm just excited to even be here, man. Honestly, it's not too many of us in the space. If we are, like I said, we're in our bedrooms or whatever. You know what I'm saying? What they call them, bedroom producers nowadays, or something like that. Yeah, like, where everybody's hiding under a rock. You know what I mean? So it's always good when I come across a brother that's really, really heavy in the music licensing space. and you put me on to Eric too. That was Eric
Okay.
Campbell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Eric Campbell.
My
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. Yeah, I had jumped in. I'm very, very new to Clubhouse. I'm literally 2 months in, but that was the
Okay.
first Clubhouse room that I had hopped in.
Fire.
And I was like, this is really, really insightful. And his story, our stories are kind of the same because I moved to Atlanta from New Jersey,
Okay.
and it was a completely different ball game down here. I thought I was going to be able to tap in with every artist here and be able to make things shake, but it's really not that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you legit have to, like, make your own way.
Yeah.
And I realize they shoot a lot of the television shows and film a lot of stuff here, but the post production still goes elsewhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I kind of had to find that out the hard way. And since then I've been able to, really pivot and find people outside of Atlanta, as far as the television and film space, because there's still a lot of producers and songwriters here who are just still placement. I need that album placement. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We need the Grammy. You know what I'm saying? We need that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so uh yeah, you gotta widen your net, as they
Yeah.
say.
That's a
Yeah,
fact. That's a fact. Are you
yeah.
with CSAC too?
Yes, I am.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, yeah. I got with them when I first came down here.
Same. When they
But
had the
when I
office.
yeah, when they had the office, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I was with ASCAP when I first started. I was with ASCAP since I was in high school,
Okay.
and the first half of the catalog, like those 200 tracks I told you I originally got placed,
Yeah.
and a few others are still with ASCAP. But I
Gotcha.
went and built a whole new catalog with CSAC. So now, I get a little something from ASCAP, you know, every 3 months, and then CSAC,
Yeah.
you know, when it
That's
come
dope.
around. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
was I was able to get in with CSAC as well. Man, I wish they wouldn't have closed the office down because they had a lot of dope events, man. And they were really great at just at helping indie producers and songwriters, with just resources and workshops and all that stuff.
Yeah, I
So
wish I got in on that. I think they had just closed the office maybe like 2, maybe 3 weeks after I got with them.
wow. Okay.
So I missed all of that. And people used to tell me, yo, they have such great events, like they can connect you with this person and that person. I missed all
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I took event. I was probably with them a solid year or so before because I
Hmm.
was going to a lot of their stuff before I was even an affiliate. And then like my
Oh,
guy Ali, like he pulled me out to some events and introduced me to people there. And I was like, I felt like I was already a part of the family. So then I sat down, had a meeting, and yeah, she was just like, yo, like trying to, we would love to have you as an affiliate. I was like, dope, let's do it.
solid,
Yeah.
solid.
So yeah, man, it
Yeah,
was dope.
yeah. It was Gregory Smith that brought me in over there.
Okay, I
Actually,
remember. Yeah,
shout out to it's this Milk and Sis, their music production songwriting duo.
yeah,
I went to high school with them, but they ended up moving down here, and they were with CSAC, and they were like, "Yo," and they're heavy in the TV and film space too,
gotcha.
and they kind of brought it to my attention, like, "Yo, you might want to, get with CSAC, since you're on that
Yeah,
TV and film side." And I was like, "Hey, cool, set it up," and
yep,
they made it happen.
yeah,
So
super dope.
yeah,
Dope, man. Well, listen, man, I won't hold you. This was a dope conversation.
it really
Super
was.
inspiring, and it was dope to catch up with you, especially seeing
Yeah,
as we're with one of the same libraries and CSAC and all
yeah,
that stuff. So, super
absolutely.
dope. We'll have to hop on do another episode too, man. But tell the people where they can find you, learn more about you, follow you, all that good stuff.
Word up. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Plan B85, or you can check out my website, 1985music.com. And on my Instagram too, I'm giving away a lot of gems. I'm trying to find my footing with the content creation stuff. So I'm gonna be posting a little bit of beats. Recently I've been posting a lot of credit card hacks, travel hacks,
Dope.
especially for like the artists and producers out there. I know y'all trying to
Nice.
travel this summer. So yeah, get with me, man. Let's do this.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, that's where it's at, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Like, leveraging good credit and all the rewards and stuff that comes, especially if you have your business straight.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can take advantage of all that there is in that space for sure. So that's super dope.
Really
I feel like
can.
a lot of people need that for sure. So
Absolutely.
dope. Make sure y'all follow them. That's it, man. We about to hop off. Appreciate you guys coming through at 7:30. We'll be doing the live music review. So if you guys want to come back, I'm gonna hop off for a little bit because your boy is hungry, and then I'm gonna come back on a full stomach. Plan B, man. I appreciate you coming through, bro. Be easy.
Appreciate you for having me.
No doubt, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
All right. Peace.